prosecution outlined how accounting practices of comedy fucking did not.
What kind of likeness is that? If they were great artists, they'll be in a museum.
Evidence today may signal at least one.
You fucking fodder for cartoonists now?
That sound means it's time for another episode of Gutter Boys. Gutter Boys is a small press comics podcast about the ins, the outs, the highs, and the very deep, endless lows of making comics. I'm your host, JB, with my co-host, Cam. On today's episode, we are joined with a friend of the show, comic artist, illustrator, podcaster. Heavy metal superstar, beach mackin' man, Daniel Irizarri. Right yeah. Mm-hmm. But before we get into that, we have some news. I don't think we have any shout-outs, do we? Did you get anything in the mail?
No, we did get a couple packages, but they literally were I got them today. Mail didn't run today, but I got them today from checking my mail. So those will return next episode. So yeah, for the intro this time around, we polled the listeners on news that you all wanted us to cover. That was kind of fun last time. Little did we know that the day that we asked for news that Pisker and Rugg would shoot themselves in the face with their own cum from their own dicks. But for the full scoop on that, we're going to do a whole episode with friend, enemy of the show, Ramon Villalobos.
Frenemy. Comics
next
frenemy.
Week. Yeah. Next week on the Patreon. So subscribe to our Patreon at gutterboys.top or patreon.com/gutterboys. If you want us to weigh in on the recent Ed Pisker, Jim Rugg debacle, I guess to, not get too deep into it, all I can really say about this dude is, Jim, we tried to save you, bro. We really did. We offered our hand multiple times, and you never accepted it. But look at you now, man.
Yeah, real unfortunate. Yeah, we'll get really into that on the bonus. It's going to be a good time, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time.
Lots of riffs, lots of jokes. It'll be a laugh.
I guess, for non-patrons, I just want to say Ed Pisker's a fucking bitch for letting Jim Rugg take the fall for this alone. He's yet to comment publicly or make a statement.
I mean, I feel like that's on brand for the guy.
Yeah, 100%, but still, just reaffirming.
Yeah, for real. All right. Moving on. Let's see. We have something that's been popping up on our feed repeatedly, and that is an old fan letter written in for Peep Show issue 10.
Yeah, Joe Matt's comic. Let me pull up that tweet. That's
in it, he writes, "Dear Joe Matt, Peep Show is brilliant. Your work has been a big influence on my songwriting. I feel like comics and pop music are analogous, quasi-art forms. Comics has its Conans. Music has its Iron Maidens. Comics has its Cerebuses. Music has its Fugazis. I feel like the new Weezer album, Pinkerton, is a lot like Peep Show. You and I are both shedding light on our despicable ids. We both feel guilty for what we uncover. And we both aim to create what you call a compelling work. We both are working under the shadow of the higher arts. You under Da Vinci and me under Beethoven. and yet, we are both somehow above fluffy pop entertainment like Archie for you and the New Kids on the Block for me. We're both incredibly slow to produce, and we both like Asian girls. Keep jerking off, Rivers Cuomo, LA, California." This... my man compared himself to Beethoven. That is fucking wild. Also, New Kids on the Block.
All of those comparisons were fucking trash.
Their entire discography is better than anything you've touched. Like, let's be fucking real. Pinkerton is trash. Weezer fucking sucks ass. And if Pinkerton is like your high point, goddamn, like that's embarrassing.
Was that like album 2 for them?
I think so. What was fucking
Blue Album?
Blue Album.
First.
Yeah. So those two were supposed to be your bangers, allegedly, according to your own fans. Everything after that sucks. No, it all sucks. It's all pretty bad. But I'm glad you're still jerking off to Asian girls. That's pretty good. That hasn't changed. You're still 12-year-old white boy.
What does Cerebus and Fugazi have? Like, how do you draw the line there?
I think he just means they're both indie-ish. I don't know. Like, his comparisons are really fucking insane. But anyway,
off as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty cringe letter from a very cringe musician that's in a cringe band. So that all lines up very perfectly, I think. All the stars aligning.
Yeah. Shout out Joe Matt, though. I know Joe Matt's a problematic figure in the community, but, you know, I'm a fan of his work. Is it problematic? Sure, but there's some good stuff in there. You know, you can find some good drawings. But yeah, he's a despicable freak. But, you know, warts and all, he shows you that in the work. So
let's see. Who's Julie Doucette? You're a fan of her, right?
Julie Doucette's got a new book.
Okay.
And just won the fucking
Grand Prix
prize.
Yeah.
Yeah, so shout out Julie Doucet. Julie Doucet, you slighted me at SPX 2019, but that's okay.
What'd you do?
She had a signing at the Drawn and Quarterly table from like 3 to, just, it might not be the exact time frame, but like from like 3 to 4. And our table was like kind of busy. You're probably going to remember this once the story ends. So like I ran over there at like, and I got to the table at like 3:59, and I was like, and she was just like promoting a like $150 box set.
Yeah.
And I was like, Julie, I was like, if I buy this, I'm so sorry for being late. Will you draw in it? And, or I didn't say we draw in it. Will you sign it, please? And she just like looked at me, looked at her watch, and then looked at me again and like just looked like, really? Like I'm about to clock out.
French people suck, by the way. Like I'm assuming that she's French, but
no, French Canadian, I think.
Oh, even worse. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. There's a clear tier of shitty people. It's French Canadians and then French underneath that. So that makes sense. Okay.
Well, peace and love from my end to Julie Doucet. Besides you slighting me, I'm still a fan of the work. I do look forward to checking out the new book.
I have to pray to my queen at it was 4:00, so I cannot draw in your book.
Fucking get the fuck out of here with that.
Yeah, but it's not like you lost like a $5 zine sale. It was like $100+.
Yeah, but she doesn't care. She got loonies to count at home, so
yeah,
you know. Friend of the show, MS Harkness, also wanted us to bring up Birdcage Bottom Books. They just wrapped up their recent Kickstarter campaign. Was that funded? I'm assuming
it was.
Okay.
I know Josh Baer had a book in there. I don't recall who else. Let me see. It was a Kickstarter? Okay, well, we can still kickstart Gutter Mag if everybody else is using it. All right. Yeah, so it does look like it was funded. Graphic novels by Josh Baer, Brother Malcolm, Brett Hamill, and A on Hand.
Do you get a
Mini
NFT
comics by Lance
with every
Ward
book?
and Yiquan Zhu. Do what now?
Do you get is there a Birdcage NFT I can get if I fund the book?
I don't think so. I don't
That's
see
bullshit.
that on here.
I don't want to back it then. If I'm not going to get my NFT, then what's the point?
Oh, do you know Funko started doing NFTs? They're just like mock-ups of what Pops would be.
A shitty drawing of a shitty toy. All right,
They're
cool.
like, they look like Toy Story, like, you know, rendered in like a Pixar
God,
style.
That's embarrassing. Imagine the type of guy buying those. Like, fuck.
Bro, okay, so here's the catch. I was reading into them, like, they, like, you know how, like, there's, like, toys will have, like, exclusive, like, stickers on them? Funkos will have, like, a little sticker that have, like, you know, like, the store exclusive or whatever, and these just say, like, NFT, because I was looking at them today on a tweet that popped up on the timeline, but yeah, that's, like, fucking pathetic.
I got my Deadpool NFT of a Funko Pop.
Yeah.
Definitely not sad or embarrassing in any way. Let's see. All right, Domino Books. They're starting a new anthology called Jaywalk. Number 1 is already out, according to listener Best Small Press.
Yeah.
I know you're a big fan of Domino Books, right?
Yeah, and Austin English will be on the show soon.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, I DM'd him to set up a time. Haven't heard back, but that was just because it was a couple hours ago, but he will be on the show.
That's right. Yeah. He sent us the books. Thank you, by the way. Really, really awesome work. But yeah, we'll talk about that when we have him on.
Yeah, I still need to buy a copy of Jaywalk, or you can send me one, Austin.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but I do need to get a copy of that. It does look cool. I think he's doing that on the newsprint that he usually does the Domino releases on that aren't like actual like books. That said, though, It looks like the rest of the news is about the Pisker stuff, which, hey, folks, we're putting behind a paywall. But only because, rest assured, that JB and I planned on dedicating this entire first segment to talking about that, but Ramon was chomping at the bit to come on. He was just like, please let me come on and do the intro with you all. Please, please, please.
And that's not going to be under 20 minutes. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, we would have, this episode would have been 4.5 fucking hours.
Yeah, so we're not doing that to you.
Yeah, we told him, if you want to do this, it's going to be on Patreon, just so that way you can go a little longer, because you know Ramon, he's got to get his shit in.
Yeah. If you really have FOMO about not being able to hear what we talk about and you're not a patron, well, one, why aren't you a patron? And two, just go on Twitter. Just go on Twitter. Yeah. That'll give you a nice rough summary of what we're going to talk about.
You'll have to read 300 tweets between everything and connect the web and jump to everybody's profiles.
There's like a few key ones that you only need to read, I feel like, to get it.
One of them, it's so fucking funny, because Bleeding Cool covered it and they were just like, Ed Pisker and Jim Rugg, drop mouse-inspired variant cover, comics fans react negatively. And it had a bunch of quotes from people negatively disagreeing. And the top quoted fucking tweet was Ramon's, where he just wrote L plus ratio.
And that wasn't there originally. That was not there originally, I think.
No, it wasn't. But I do love that Ramon was able to just hit up Rich Johnston, who runs Bleeding Cool, and being like, hey, add this.
He's like, yo, you forgot one.
Just controlling and manipulating the comics media.
Manipulating another man so that you can get your shit in. That's such a fucking smooth move.
So yeah, if you want to hear about this, Patreon, gutterboys.top or patreon.com/gutterboys.
Yeah, for $5 you can hear that, plus some other shit. But anyway,
yeah.
But hey, all right, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna be joined with our buddy Daniel Irizarri. So stay tuned.
We'll be right back.
One day, while combing the beach, Ambar and Alana discovered a pair of beautiful medallions. What happened next changed their lives forever. The Santos sisters will have you laughing from cover to cover as they fight crime, date dumb dudes, and just deal with everyday life as young women in the world. Coming in at a whopping 56 pages. This comic is printed with a 4-color web press on decadent newsprint. All that for just $5? The #1 source for underground comics in Chicago, Quimby's, says this about our comic. A style that's part Archie, part superhero, part snark, but it's all fun. And we think that's just sick. The Santos Sisters is available now in select comic book stores and online at santossisters.com.
Rust Belt Review is a quarterly comics lit magazine featuring serialized and short-form comics from some of the most exciting cartoonists in the small press scene today. Volume 1 features work from Gutter alums M.S. Harkness, Audra Stang, and Caleb Orecchio, along with work by Andrew Greenstone, Sean Knickerbocker, and Juan Jose Fernandez. You can order your copy of Rust Belt Review today by going to rustbeltreview.org. Enter in promo code GUTTER to receive $2 off your order. Again, that website is rustbeltreview.org. Promo code GUTTER.
The Last Aviatrix is a post-nuclear adventure comic by independent, Los Angeles-based cartoonist Buster Cagle. The story follows Summer, our last aviatrix, who pilots the sole-surviving airplane, a nuclear-powered B-29. As she travels the ruined world finding ways to survive and help humanity, while dealing with the imminent threat of the Atom-born, a rare breed of atomic wizards that want to see her out of the sky, her mission becomes complicated when she accidentally picks up Henry, an Atom-born child who wields incredible power, and Clementine, a berserker on a quest for vengeance. Can our aviatrix survive this ruined and irradiated wasteland? Every issue can be read for free on bustercagle.com/comics. Paper copies can be ordered as well, but you can still read it for free. If you like wizards or warplanes, go check it out.
Tired of the same old comics? Why not try Clusterfucks Comics instead? Clusterfucks Comics is a black and white anthology comic zine featuring some of the best underground comics creators today. Creators like Adam Uter, Brian Judge, Isaac Roller, Cameron Zavala, Miguel Aguilar, Dylan Henty, Jared Cody Wolf, Paparotti, Umberto Tonella, Matthew Grant, and so many more. You haven't heard of any of those people? Well, fuck you! Grab a copy and discover their amazingness today, you uncultured swine. The first 3 issues are available now, with the 4th issue debuting in April. So go grab your copy today at camiscomiccorner.com/comics with an X, or follow them on Instagram at clusterfuckscomics. Clusterfucks Comics. Comics you can clusterfucks with.
Hey Gutter Gang, Cam here to tell you about Soggy Landing again, longtime supporter of the podcast. They recently sent us printed copies of the first 3 chapters to review and are currently posting chapter 4 online with updates on Instagram. And while I personally haven't seen any of chapter 4 since I don't read webcomics, I can tell you the first 3 chapters are really fun to read and full of weed-smoking wizards and hijinks. They've also been contributors to Rust Belt Review issues 3 and 4 with some soggy side stories, so make sure to check those out too. You can read Soggy Landing over on Study Group Comics and over on Instagram at Ian Densford or at welcome_2_soggy_landing. Soggy Landing, hell yeah, dude.
Athenium Comic Art is an original art website for some of the best cartoonists in the business. They currently represent Remy Boydell, Marie Capelle-France, Nicole Gu, Jonathan Hill, Emma Hunsinger, Casey Nowak, Micah Song, and Tilly Walden. Athenium Comic Art gives fans the opportunity to own original piece of art from their favorite comics and support the artists that they love. In their short time in business, they've already shipped many iconic pages out to hardcore fans across the globe. Don't miss out on your chance to own a one-of-a-kind piece of history. Check out their website, atheniumcomicart.com, and type in Gutter Gang at checkout to receive free shipping on your first order. Again, the website is atheniumcomicart.com, and the code is Gutter Gang.
Now, back to our program.
All right, welcome back from the break. We are joined all the way from Puerto Rico with fellow podcaster and mangaka Daniel Irizarri. Folks know him for his previous work. Well, we'll be getting into that. There's no point in listing them. Daniel, what the fuck is up?
Everything's good. Sorry about that little mishap earlier, but I'm glad that I'm here now and everything's recording just fine, and I'm happy to be here.
Hell yeah. Where are you at on the island, by the way? What city?
If you want to like dox me,
yes,
I guess we can.
Social.
We can get like.
Are you in Bayamon?
No. I'm safe.
I dated a girl from there.
No, Bayamon is like notoriously
slutty,
hot area.
Okay.
Like hot chicks or hot temperature wise?
No, like a lot of gunfire.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
well, she wasn't really about
caliente,
that life.
you know?
She came over when she was like 3.
Okay, but actually, I'm not that much safer where I am. I feel like most towns got a hot place like that. I'm in Ponce. Ponce is the south, the biggest city in the south, and we have a bit of a reputation for being like acting like we're better than everybody, or like Ponce people act like they're better than everybody. I've recently adjusted to living back in Ponce. Maybe it's a bit of a shame for most people, but I'm like taking a small break, and I moved back home for a bit.
And previously, you did at one point live in the States, right?
Yeah. My origin story.
Yeah, let's get to it.
My dad's a doctor, so he had one of these offers to be a doctor in a Native American reservation in South Dakota. So he was like a reservation doctor for 4 years in a small town called Sisseton. And so Sisseton Wahpeton tribe, the Lakota Nation, shout outs to them who probably aren't listening, but you know, you never know.
We got a big fan base there.
Big fan base in Sisseton. Shout outs.
Yeah, the Canucks love us.
Yeah, no, South Dakota has the craziest weather. It'll be like 115 in the summer, and it'll go negative 30s in the winter. So it was wild. It was pretty wild. But yeah, after that, like, I stayed in South Dakota just long enough to become a weird person back in Puerto Rico. Does that make sense? Like, we came back, we moved to, like, a mountain town over here, like, in the country, in, like, deep rainforest, and I was just, like, a weird little American kid, basically.
So, like, did they give you shit, like the other kids in Puerto Rico when you came back?
Yes, because, like, kids, they only learn the swear words. Mm-hmm. So, as soon as they met me, they'd be like, hey, Salaman Bish. Hey, Salaman Bish. And that was their way of having fun. And I was like a little Christian boy. I didn't know how to swear. I didn't know good swears.
Hell yeah. So how long have you been back in Puerto Rico? What was the timeline on this?
That was like since 98, basically.
Okay, so you've lived in Puerto Rico since 98?
Yeah, like we just got to the island and then Hurricane George hit, and it was like a pretty big hurricane. We were without power for months. So it was like a very big reality check, basically.
Yeah, damn. And that was when you were a child, though?
Yeah, I was 10. I was 10.
Okay, gotcha. So moving from that into like comics, is there much of a presence comics-wise on the island, like, or is it mainly like online? What was your exposure to that at first?
My exposure was my older brother. He was a big comics guy. He had like a giant collection of a bunch of 90s books, a lot of like original X-Men, a lot of like Joe Madureira X-Men stuff. So a lot of my comic influences were whatever he was into. He had like this like original 90s Elseworld volume of Kingdom Come that I would like pour through. He had a lot of books that was like my main exposure, and since he was like 12 years older than me, I had a lot of that exposure really early. So I feel like I was consuming comics since I can remember.
And were there comic shops, or were they in the gas stations like here in America? Like, were they hard to get there?
Where I was, that like mountain town, or like, yeah, it was impossible to get them. It was like just rereading my brother's comics over and over until we moved back to Ponce, where all of a sudden there was a couple places like GameStop. GameStop had like Shonen Jumps, and that was like my exposure to like comic book purchasing was just buying Wizard magazines and Shonen Jumps. Yeah, I would basically like keep up or with the idea of what was happening in comics with Wizard, but what I was actually reading was like manga.
And that's really like kind of funny because like it seems like when we talk to people who on the show who are not from America, like the comics they grew up reading were like manga, and that's like the biggest like shit here in America right now. So it's like funny how much like reach Japanese comics have as opposed to like American comics. I almost feel like, you know, like they're definitely bigger here in the States than like standard comics, but it's just like funny how like much more easier it is to access that stuff worldwide, it seems, based off who we talk to compared to like, you know, like Big Two stuff or whatever, which you'd think that would be like, you know, the opposite, because like Batman and Superman, you know, you think they're like these global sensations.
Yeah, but that's always like movies. For people, that's movies. Right. Those characters are movie characters. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've talked about like a million reasons why comic books, the actual comic books, American comic books, don't get off the ground anymore. Like those mainstream characters. But it always comes down to it's as simple as like you can like read a manga and you can find the first volume of a thing and keep reading it. Like a lot of my friends, we would read a lot of like scanlations. Once I was like too broke to continue my like Shonen Jump subscription, or like to the Shonen Jump addiction where I would like go every month to that same GameStop and pick up a new volume, I just started like finding them online through ways that may or may not be legal.
It's so funny that you had to like go to GameStop out of all places to get the fucking comics you liked. And I know they actually recently tried to get back into selling comics. Like there's one that's like right next to like where I live, and I'll stop over there sometimes if I'm getting a new game. And like I remember seeing some DC comics in there, like actually for sale in the past couple years. So I'm sure that wasn't the case back then, but like just that sounds awful having to go to a GameStop to get fucking comics.
It is. And there was a comic book shop that I just didn't know about. I was like in high school. Puerto Rico is very like road heavy. They took the island and like chopped it up with roads. And if you don't like live near an area, you're gonna have to drive. And if you're in high school, it's like your parents driving you or some shit. So the GameStop was like next to the supermarket. That was like my mom was at the supermarket, and I could like shuffle away over to the GameStop, and like usually it was like to look at whatever, but the Shonen Jump, it was like an issue with like Super Saiyan Vegeta, and we like local TV had Dragon Ball Z, local TV had Rurouni Kenshin. We had like a programming block that had those, so we knew those characters. Like we had that. And also because I lived in the States, I lived like right when like Toonami was launching. So
yeah, I think that was very big as far as like ushering in like anime and manga here in America. Like that really kicked off things here for like that whole subculture.
And like Latin American DirecTV had a channel called Locomotion, and maybe some listener will know what I'm talking about, but that shit was really inappropriate. It was like it was like one of the first channels on the whole programming, and it would like go into like almost like ecchi stuff in random moments. It was very like fan servicey, like Mexicans doing, like, no offense to Mexicans, but when they like consume anime, they're very like cool with anything, with whatever. Like, and I was growing up in an evangelical household, so these were like cartoons, but then I would like be in the living room like checking the parents' room, like constantly be like spotting for my parents to make sure that I could like change the channel in time just in case.
Yeah, so like the TV was just more free, like they didn't have as much censorship. Is that what you mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Damn, hell yeah, that's sick though. So, they were just showing hentai.
Almost. There was this like
softcore hentai.
There was a lot of like good series like Bubblegum Crisis, Saber Marionette. I think it was called Blue Seed, Eat Man. Like this was like my first exposure to like Evangelion. But then like after around 10 p.m., they would like show something called like, I think it was called like Sakura Diaries.
And that was just like the risque shit.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. See, at 10 p.m., it would just switch to Girls Gone Wild infomercials here.
Yeah, so. It's essentially that, except the full episodes.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah.
At least you like had like cool shit like that though. Like
yeah, it wasn't all just Cartoon Network curated.
Right, for sure. So like your work never really reminds me of anime or manga. So do you feel like it's informed or influenced by that shit since it's what you grew up reading?
I mean, that makes me sad a little bit because I mean,
the energy is there, but as far as like, like the tell-all signs, I don't see it,
I haven't written my own work in a long time.
Uh-huh.
If we go way back to the work that I was publishing at first, like 2009, 2010, I was very much doing sort of like guy with a sword against robots stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But especially with Holy West, I was trying to do a quote. This is like as realistic as I can draw, basically. Kind of lean towards a sort of more cartoony style. Sorry, I was just remembering a terrible review of like when I was working in Judge Dredd, and they were like, this stuff's too anime and cartoony, like this kind of thing. Like the Judge Dredd fans hated it. Yeah, like I like expressiveness in my characters. I like.
Yeah. So I see what you mean then. Yeah. So I think that you do take influence in that sense. I do see what you mean there. I guess what I meant is you're not like one of these, non Japanese people just like ripping off and aping manga. You definitely have your own style that's like informed, but yeah, I don't really see like much of a direct lineage. Like, so did you end up like finding, American comics from here, or did you just kind of say, fuck it, or were you torrenting that shit too?
I think once I hit college, I had a Borders nearby, And that's when I started like reading American comic books, and I feel like my style also kind of like subdued some of the more manga influences. I started getting into like late 2000s Marvel stuff, so like Bendis books, Steve McNiven, David Finch, that kind of art, like trying really hard to like do that sort of like big contrast work, and Mignola basically. So like all of that did a number on what my style was, even though I have those influences at Mobius as well. Around like 2012 I got crazy into Mobius. Yeah, it became something else with my style. It became harder to define. I always feel bad because I can never put my style in a box or a category with other people.
Yeah, so you mentioned going to school. You went to art school, is that right? College for art?
It was a college that had an art program.
Okay.
So
and that's what you enrolled in, though, right? The art program?
Yeah, the art program.
Okay.
But it was a college more like geared towards like engineering and farming and agriculture, and so the art program was kind of scarce. I feel like going to that college was kind of like an afterthought, because like I had the original fantasy of going to the Kubert School. Like I sent the email like to solicit I sent the letter to solicit the brochure and everything. I still have that somewhere. So I had that fantasy of like going to the Kubert School, meeting Stan Lee, showing him like 5 drawings, and working for Marvel. Like that was like my conception.
That's how comics work.
That's how comics worked in my mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is how they work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
If you can find Stan Lee now, anything can happen.
This is true.
Yeah.
So, you ended up going to like, what school was it?
It's called...
Not to dock you, actually, if you don't want to say. Yeah.
No, it's Mayagüez, Colegio de Mayagüez. It's a pretty big university if you're like going to NASA or something. If you're gonna work at NASA, it's a good university to name drop. In terms of art, not really. But what happened was like I would end up not taking some like art courses during the year, just so that I could have that time to draw comics. So I would do that for myself, because the general courses just weren't doing much aside from like perspective or color theory, which I feel like I really did absorb as much as I could out of them. But yeah, I was doing my own book, and that's where I actually learned.
Okay. And is there much of like a scene there? Were you just like publishing work online at this point? Were you like printing up copies and like distributing them there, like going to shows?
Yeah, I was just starting beefs in DeviantArt mostly.
Did you say starting beef on DeviantArt?
Yes.
I can see why you and Ramon got along so well so quickly.
I mean, some people just like drew bad, or they colored. Like they would color other people's work badly.
So Twitter,
and
basically.
I was an asshole. Yeah, I was a bit of an asshole on DeviantArt. I was like, why did you do this? Why did you do that?
Why do you suck? Why do you continue doing this? Nice.
Yeah, and like it's not like I was even good. It's not like I was even good back then. But I thought I was. I did a lot of like DeviantArt, finding like maybe early on I tried to like talk to people I admired, but most of the time I was just content finding contemporaries. People who were around my age, who were into the same kind of books I was into. Like, sorry, like it might seem a little bit like stereotypical, but I was like really into Naruto for a bit. And I think there is some of that influence in like my motions, like how I do like angles sometimes still. But I would find people, like there was this site called Manga Revolution that was like just a place to post art. And it would be like different skill tiers, and I would comment a lot on them. So it was a lot of unknowingly like putting my art out there, because it was always a digital experience, because on the island or like in the university, the comic scene was always, as politely as possible, I will say this, it was always people who were like 10 steps behind. Like they were still doing really bad anime faces. None of the people who I was seeing were actually putting that effort into printing a coherent story. Like, anybody who was an artist or who liked manga would just like draw these single images of people who would like usually like hidden hands, you know, like hands in the pockets, half angel wing and then a demon wing, and it was all like their OCs, and they had these stories for them in their heads, but it would never go anywhere. They would never do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
But online, it was sort of like people who were more my speed. Like, I guess I just started early with a lot. Like, I inherited like a Wacom tablet from my older brother, and so I was able to like start digitally coloring my work since like 2006.
Okay. You were mainly posting online. When did you actually get into like printing? And then after that, I guess we'll get into like, you know, your journey over to working in America. Well, not working in America, but working in American comics.
Yeah, printing was 2000, I want to say 2009. 2009, I used my university's printer. Like, there was like this small office that did publications, and I was like, I showed them my JPEGs, and I was like, can you put this into a book? Like, I was just figuring it out on my own, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I did like a small run of a book called Mecharain. I was like, let me be humble and only print 150 issues, which I assume will immediately sell.
Yeah.
And I still maybe have 120 of them in a box over here.
Oh, okay. So, like, are there shows or anything down there that, like, people set up? Zine Fest, anything like that?
There are smaller, like, comic book shops would do, like, free comic book days. Things have gotten better. If we're talking present day PR, there was like one of the best indie comics festivals over here is called Tintero, but since the pandemic there hasn't been one. Rosa Colon is the organizer. She does really good indie comics under Soda Pop Comics, so shout out to her. If I doubt she's listening, but she's great. She's like a sort of a fairy godmother of the indie comic scene on the island.
Okay. And that's like more like the present day, but like
present
you know
day.
back in those days, like when you were first starting, like were you just mainly relying on the internet to get your work out there? Were you selling those, you know, you didn't sell much, but were you selling those, you know, copies
I
like
was selling them. I was like
or?
walking around the university with my books.
Oh shit, okay. Hustling for real.
Yeah, I would like talk to different professors I knew and ask them for like a minute so that I could like show my comic to classmates or like to the people in the class, and they would like, thankfully I had professors who would see my work and be like, oh, he's actually doing something kind of decent. Like I was able to show that I had a product that wasn't just notebook, like nonsense notebook scribbles.
Yeah, so did you pull any dates from showing everybody your comics?
That's how I thought people dated. Like when I was in middle school, I would be like, I thought that you find a girl that draws and you show them that you draw better.
Yes. You own them
And
in drawing.
This is some Ramon shit.
And
go on.
And we would be like, fuck, it's messed up. I always thought that I would have like this like tsundere rivalry thing with somebody.
You definitely are a product of manga.
It
sounds like Bakuman.
It's
You got
messed
manga
up.
brain.
Yeah, I do have that brain damage.
Mm-hmm.
No, but like by the time I was in college, when I did date, like it wasn't a core part of the courting at all. Like I would do like terrible like birthday presents that were like a cute drawing. I was that kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And they were nice enough to accept those gifts. So shout out to them.
So obviously there's a bridge that goes from here to, you know, you getting work for some of the bigger comic companies and properties here in America. If you could paraphrase that, like how you got from there to, you know, I guess currently where you're at for real, you know, and everything that led up to this.
I feel a little bad. That's a tangent, but I was posting pretty regularly. Like, I never stopped posting. I just jumped from like DeviantArt to Tumblr.
That should be on your tombstone. Never stopped posting.
Never stopped posting. No, but I moved to Tumblr, and by the time I was on Tumblr, I was just posting much more like professionally, just posting the art, posting my own books. Like, I had Mecarain, which I did like 4 official issues of. And then I tried to make something that would like be like the next big hit online that never really happened, but it was like a good 15-page issue of something called Renegade Sex Machine. And it was basically like my cyberpunk anime Mobius thing around 2013. This was before it was played out, I promise. This was before, like, the character with, like, curly pink hair and the side buzz cut wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing. I started that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hell yeah.
You heard it here, folks. Like,
Daniel invented that. Dio.
I invented the buzz cut with the curly hair, and it was pink.
Daniel invented e-girls. People don't know this, but...
and it was a dude, and he was a sex robot. I was breaking down all kinds of barriers. So I did that, and that got attention from a couple of writers. Jacob Free, who has done a couple of books. He's working on Cities of Magic right now, and Seth, even back then, was hiring me for pitch work. So I did a bit of that, and actually, like, even maybe before RSM came out, I had my Image Comics debut. And as much as it's awkward now, as much as it's uncomfortable now, which is what I was saying that I felt bad about, yeah, that was like me randomly hitting Brendan Graham up. Like, even if he's like persona non grata now, he liked my work enough to give me a 5-page backup in the Pages of Prophet. And that was an issue that Simon Roy drew. Like, he drew and wrote. So, like, my comics debut had my name right under, like, Rob Liefeld. That's something I'm always, like, proud of.
Insane, yeah. It's like, a hell of a debut.
Yeah. And, there's all this stuff surrounding this person now that is all alleged and cannot be litigated, okay?
It's all alleged.
Litigation girlfriend, back off.
Yeah.
We're not saying anything.
Yeah, we didn't say anything. We just mentioned a name and an issue that was out.
Yeah.
This is all alleged behavior.
Controversies.
Yes. So, I guess, you getting, the rub from Image, that just kind of opened the doors for you to other editors?
Not even that. Like, I've always felt so... This is so funny. I've always felt so on the outside about it that, like, there was that, and that was a nice moment, and I was like, oh, yep, this is it. I'm in comics.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wouldn't, like, hear from anybody, and I would, like, do more pitch work with Seth. I think that's when I worked on the book with him, and then around 2014 was when Boom Studios hit me up out of nowhere. I don't know why. I don't know who pointed them in my direction, but that's how I did America Town. That, I guess, is the first full book I drew for an American publisher. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that book, though. Like,
was it a bad experience, or was it just kind of there?
It's one of these books that's like written by a TV guy. Apparently, one of the people who worked on the prison show Oz wanted to do a comic book where they were imagining, like, whoa, what if Americans were the illegal immigrants moving south? So they started off with that minefield, that like that like minefield of content, and they're like, we need to get a Latino on this. We need to get
dollar signs.
Yeah, we need to get some kind of like shield that we can put in front of our work in case this backfires. But like, if you look at Oz, the HBO series, and you look at my like colorful sci-fi work that I was known for at the time, like it wasn't a good fit. a good fit at all. Like, they wanted to do sort of like a gritty, down-to-earth immigrant story about a guy in his 40s who was like down on his luck, and he was just been smuggled into Argentina, and his son is there, but he's getting arrested, and it's like, what if they treated white people like they treat brown people?
Damn, really makes you think.
Yeah, right. It was like the episode of Star Trek where there's like a guy with a black face and a white half, but then they hate each other because their faces are black and white on opposite sides. Real thinker of a book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
like around issue 2 or 3, like the writers started to like lag with the scripts that they'd send. I was never the fastest artist to begin with. At around issue 4, they stopped publishing it, but I kept drawing it, and it came out as a full book, 8 issues. And hopefully no one has read it since. Fingers crossed. Nobody's read it.
I'm gonna have to find these,
folks. This is Gutter Gang Nation. This is your cue to find that shit and send it to us.
I hope
I'm gonna get that shit slabbed and graded.
I hope you guys never find it. And funny enough, again, because apparently people who are a little bit controversial love me, at that point I started collaborating with Ulises Farinas.
Okay, yeah. Is Ulysses canceled or anything like that?
He's
I don't want to compliment their work.
He's living life his way. Well, like, he definitely around 2018 stopped getting like big comic book work. No Judge Dredd, or like there was never, like, after Judge Dredd there wasn't like a series at that level that he was helming. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I see.
And for whatever reason, basically so we worked together on Claudia and Rex. That book is a 3-issue series. I'm still really proud of the art that I did on that book. But some asshole artist flaked on Ulises, and I'm talking real rude because this is Dan McDade.
Hell yeah.
He flakes on Ulises on working on his second Judge Dredd book, and we're already talking. He's like, do you want the job? And I'm like, yes, obviously. Immediately, yes. So shout outs to Dan. I appreciate whatever crisis you went through that let me do that book.
He just couldn't find any haggis.
Basically, he was on a quest to find more haggis, and he couldn't draw. He did not have any time to draw. He's like,
hell yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was gonna do a terrible British accent, but I'm not even gonna try. Yeah, and while I was working on Judge Dredd, there was like these projects with Ulises where he was like, "Yep, after this, we're gonna get ready for this book, and then this book, and they're already lined up with IDW, and it's basically a surefire thing." Like, last issue of Judge Dredd comes out, and he's like, "Yeah, those aren't gonna happen." So I was kind of like left in a comics limbo at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like the extent of most of my professional comics career until like 2019. I did some work with Star Trek in IDW, and that's it. And that's basically, since then I've been preparing Holy West for its eventual birth and release onto the world.
Hell yeah. I'm stoked to see it, man. I backed the Kickstarter. I'm stoked to see it.
I appreciate your patience from since that moment on.
Oh, yeah.
we know. No, it's like we know it's been a lot of time.
Is the next book that you're going to work on have horses in it too?
I much love to Seth Jacob, who is writing Holy West and may write more issues with horses in them. I have no interest in drawing horses ever again in my life. I'm good at it though. I'm good at it now.
Yeah. You had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were sending your edit of the horse to us the other day.
I actually I felt so embarrassed about those first pages from 2018 that before the actual book gets printed, I needed to go back and fix them. And I think it looks better now. It's just that I knew if it was a book about, I don't know, like vampires, and I got a horse wrong for like one page one time, I wouldn't care. But this is like a Western book. Like, the people who read this think about horses. I had to give them something decent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think what has kept me part of the comics community has more or less been like working with Ramon and Flentallo, like Mex Flentallo.
So let's talk about Flentallo a little bit, though. So why the fuck is your show so long?
Yeah, 3 hours is wild.
It feels natural. Even now, we've talked 42 minutes. It feels like we're just starting a conversation. We're just getting to know each other.
We're about to end it, baby.
No. I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna get blue balls after this. Basically,
I'm starting to understand why you guys have so many episodes in the can, because they're all 3 hours each, and Ramon doesn't want to edit 3 hours each.
Like, if you want to know,
are they 3 hours after editing?
Essentially, like, if you want to know why our show comes out so like sporadically, just take a look at any preview page that Ramon has dropped in the chat, you know? Like,
yeah, like one every 17 months.
I'm sure he's done more pages, and he's just dropping like these little morsels, but I have the utmost sympathy for the man at being someone who takes way too long to draw.
How long does he take to do one page just to ink it?
Well, his shit's looking very dense right now.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's like a similar obsession, but I find myself not being able to let go of a page without filling those corners in.
What is that about?
Maybe it's like the Frank Quietly influence that we share, or like the clear line.
It's what you all call the old school pro.
Yeah, like, I know I'm not an old school pro.
The Jeff Darrow.
Yeah. Like, there's just something very...
Y'all gonna start drawing into the word bubbles and shit at this point.
I actually get mad at word bubbles because they cover some good stuff.
Yeah, you should just draw right into them.
Yeah, because the image doesn't make sense to me if it's not filled in. It just isn't. And which is why, like, I think maybe someday I won't be a comic book artist. I'll just make fully fleshed out illustrations, and I'll find a way to get paid to do that. And if I get the chance, I will do my comics in my own time for me. And
you could do a silent comic, no dialogue.
I've actually done like one or two, like in terms of like professional career that we talked about. I would sometimes find these like nice little breaks where I would be able to like do small like 6-page, 5-page short comics of my own, and that is like the closest to what I really want to do that I ever get a chance to do. But yeah, Ramon, he's a busy guy. He's hustling as like old school pro style.
Posting,
he's busy
eating
like
Subway,
making sure that the Subway lady makes him the perfect sandwich. He can't be editing episodes all the time.
I just know it's funny. Like, don't get me wrong, the pages that he's shown us look amazing, but I know the bad idea business model is like they don't publish till you have like all your shit ready to go, is my understanding of that. So I think Bad Idea really will not be a company by the time that motherfucker finishes that book.
Yeah.
And it won't be a promotional stunt.
Very fitting name. Very fitting.
I think Bad Idea will be very successful, and everything will work out great for them, right?
Yeah.
No. It's different. I like it.
A fuck ton of money. We're gonna start a publisher and call it Poor Decision Making, and we'll start releasing books. You'll see.
It works out because if it all like goes belly up, they're like, it was right there in the name, folks.
That's the thing. Is like
it was a bit. We were doing a bit.
It's all performance.
Yeah,
it's all.
They were dedicated to the bit. Yes.
But for the record, everything I've seen of them.
Oh, I own every single title. To be honest.
Damn, what a simp.
So
yeah. Well, dude, you know what?
I'm standing by my man.
You know me. I'm all about the flip, and this is a boutique comics company with mainstream, big talent. Some of it's good, but
this is a moneymaker for you,
some
Cam.
of it's good. To be completely honest, though, everything that's not Ramon or David Lapham can and will be flipped eventually.
I've seen some really good Louis LaRosa art. I don't even know what project he's working on. Just whatever he posts.
I think it's the Tankers book that he's
good.
on. Does he post? Yeah.
Tankers.
Yeah, that's another artist that's like...
You might actually like Tankers, JB. It's actually pretty sick. So... It's about these dudes who are like, they're in these like mecha robot suits.
I don't care.
But they're like, no. But they're supposed to.
Yeah, you lost me. You already lost me.
No, hang on. So they're supposed to like.
They fight kaijus, JB.
Well, no. They're supposed to fight like. They end up getting stuck in the land with like dinosaurs, and the dinosaurs are just whooping their asses.
Uh-huh.
So that's, but I've only read the first issue. I have the rest of them, but I'm just behind on reading it.
JB wants to kill himself.
I'll just stick to reading
Just
my
after that
Topps
description.
trading cards comic of Jurassic Park. I think I'll stick with that.
Yeah,
those are pretty sick.
That's some good shit too.
Yeah. No, I'm just.
Yeah, but I'm not under any sort of like economic interest defending bad idea. They can do whatever they want. They can like fail if they want to. Whatever. I don't like.
Yes,
I'm just being cool with my guy Ramon.
Yeah, no. I think it's cool. I think what they're doing is cool. It's different. They're trying to be disruptors. I don't necessarily agree with all of it, but you know what? They're existing and they're paying people to make art and comics. So whatever, that works.
Yeah. So he's doing that. I mostly feel for the Mex Flentallo fans, the MFers who are waiting for episodes. I know they tweet about it. Yeah, the MFers. They tweet about it, and like it's out of my hands. It's out of my hands, boys. If you're listening, gutter MFers,
you just show up to record. Yeah.
Like here's the thing: if we stopped doing regular episodes for a month, our listenership would be like a quarter of what it is now.
Really?
Oh, 100%.
Probably.
You think they only stick around because you're consistent?
Yes.
Yeah, because they love that I don't know. And I think that us being accessible helps too, to be honest. Well,
I think you give yourselves too little credit. I think people would stick around for like hints of that smooth, low baritone voices.
Well, I mean, y'all motherfuckers still have patrons that never cancel, right?
If you're listening, patrons, we love you so much.
So maybe we would be all right, JP.
Pleading.
You guys are so great. And there's episodes coming, and there's going to be Patreon exclusive episodes coming. If you want to find out about Cam coming in fourth in Mario Kart, stick around, folks.
Did Ramon ever start actually paying you from the Patreon money?
Yeah, does he just pocket all of this?
No, that stuff has just been going to like keep the TriCast going. Like it's crazy. We got like this TriCast subscription that we were like, yeah, we kind of need more than 10 hours a month because we're going to be recording so much all the time.
Yeah, that's one episode for you all. Of recording.
Low-hanging fruit. I'm not even gonna.
Nah, but it's been still a good experience regardless. Whenever we do get a chance to record, there's times where I end up like sort of like crying laughing at some of the shit we come up with.
Mm-hmm.
So out of the percentage of time that you're laughing, how much of that equates to money getting paid to you from Ramon?
About I'm gonna say like 10, like he dropped a nice amount of money like a couple months back. I think he just like lets it accumulate.
Oh, okay.
And then sends it in chunks. But Ramon, if you're listening, if you want to send some more money, whenever you want.
This sounds like a laundering scheme. This does not sound legit at all.
Yeah, well, I know one time when I talked to you all, Ramon was like trying to get Amazon to deliver you like a nice microphone.
Yeah,
and it just didn't show up.
In a microphone.
I think he pocketed that.
The next chunk of change is gonna come in a microphone.
Okay.
But it's also like this thing where I want to start my own Patreon at some point.
Yeah.
And we're operating Flentallo out of his Patreon. It's not like a Flentallo Patreon.
Oh, it's just his.
Oh,
Yeah.
well then, I guess that's a bad deal.
Yeah,
You
what
need to
the
just start
fuck?
your own
Yeah,
Patreon.
no. This is a
Are
terrible
we
idea.
gonna start talking about like contracts here in the Gutter Boys episode?
No, but I think that you're just gonna get the shit beat out of you by your abusive partner after this airs. Yeah.
That's me and my tsundere boyfriend.
You know that $3.50 I was going to send you? Not anymore.
Damn.
Yeah, no plantains for you.
That's actually what one plantain
I was going to
costs.
mail you some Burger King coupons, a 2-for-1 Subway gift card. No, not anymore.
Ramon probably still has the old Subway stamp cards. You remember those?
Yes.
Yeah, Ramon's probably still got those from back in the day.
Still getting deals.
Yeah.
He loves them. Loves the deals. All right, so since Cam didn't put the questions up for the listeners,
I forgot. Totally.
I'm almost like 100% sure you would have gotten -1 question.
Yeah, so no questions, unfortunately. We'll go ahead and ask you the one question that I know we would have gotten. What did you have for breakfast today?
Ooh, if it had been like any other day, it would have been like a normal answer. But I had some French toast.
Oh,
no
that's
shit. Okay,
that's nice. What is normal?
A normal breakfast is just like a bit of a. Damn, I don't even know how to translate this, but it's like a loaf of bread.
An entire loaf of bread.
Like a whole loaf or like a baguette? Like a small...
cutting a piece of a loaf of bread.
Okay.
It's not like sliced bread.
Yeah.
Like,
picturing you opening up a whole entire
24
loaf of bread.
slices.
it's just that over here.
You're just eating piece by piece like a crazy
Over here,
person.
we have like bread that's called sobao
Mhm.
and de agua. So
Of water?
yeah, that's just purely the name.
Okay.
One is just like a softer, smoother, almost a little bit sweeter loaf, and the de agua is like has a little bit more like it's a little bit crispier. It's a bit of a crispier bread.
Oh, like soda bread almost.
Whatever soda bread is, probably, maybe.
Okay. All right.
No, but I would have had like a loaf of bread or like a piece of it with some ham and cheese, maybe some oatmeal, maybe an egg. Easy peasy. Like nothing complicated. And coffee. Have to have it.
Are you a dark roast guy? You a light roast?
Cafe Bustelo.
Yeah. What are you doing? What's going on in there?
We do our coffee like pretty like concentrated. Anytime I've gone to the States, whatever you guys call coffee is like a watered down thing.
So you're just
Yeah.
you're just like chugging espresso.
This motherfucker's chewing the beans.
Yeah.
Essentially,
Yeah.
yes.
Just sludge.
That's tight.
Just coffee
I fuck with that.
sludge.
Yeah, even like putting milk in it, I keep it dark, keep it concentrated. Yeah. Oh, like my grandma gave me my first cup of coffee like when I was like 8.
It is the strong shit.
I wonder if it's
Yeah.
anything like Cuban espresso.
Probably, maybe.
Okay.
It like PR has a bit of like has a coffee culture. We have a bit of like this like bragging rights thing where apparently for like the years of 1800 something to 1800 something, the Pope got his coffee from Puerto Rico. And so
Dude,
we'll
that's
say
200
that.
years ago. Y'all holding on to that still?
Yeah, we say stuff like that to like pretend we have self-esteem over here.
We got exploited for our resources, dog.
Yes, this is how colonized people brag.
Yeah, right. Hell yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that was my breakfast.
So are you eating like a whole sandwich, or is it like a charcuterie board where you've got like little slices of stuff and you're like making like a fancy Lunchable?
No, it's just a sandwich. It's just putting a fried egg on an open bread, throwing some cheese on it, throwing some ham on it, maybe throwing that back into the frying pan, flatten it out.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we got that shit here. It's called Egg McMuffin. Yeah.
It's exactly like an Egg McMuffin, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it sounds dead.
I'm not very familiar with Puerto Rican food for the most part.
You should find a local Puerto Rican restaurant.
That ain't happening in
and-
fucking Iowa, dog. That's not.
I
it's
mean,
not
you'd
happening.
be surprised. Like, we're a bit like we're everywhere.
No, if there are
Yeah.
no. If there are Puerto Ricans making food here, they're selling Mexican food. They're just selling tacos.
They're making it in their homes. They're making it in their homes.
Yeah, exactly.
My friend Zenon was is Puerto Rican, so I would eat stuff that his mom cooked, but it was always like a lot of plantains and tostones.
Yes.
Is there any like lentils involved?
I mean, we're like a rice and beans people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll like, my mom has this like amazing sort of like garden situation where she has like plátano plants growing. She has aguacates growing. That's avocados.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that she can just like pick off the backyard.
Damn, that's sick. Hell yeah.
Yeah. It's very fulfilling. Every time my mom's like, yeah, I just picked that. Like what you're eating, this like fried plantain that's like really nice and sweet. Yeah, that was fresh.
Fried plantains, man.
Yeah, the shit right there. Yeah, like I would always have like fried plantains and like a pork, like a pulled pork. I don't know if it was pork, but it was like a pulled shredded meat. They would always
it might have been pork. It might have been like similar to like your lechon.
Yeah. And then you know what else is good is I think you all do mofongo, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, what is this? I've heard of it.
Mofongo is
like
a mashed plantain.
Oh, no.
It's a mashed plantain that's like made into like almost like a ball or a dome.
Okay.
And it usually has like garlic and bacon bits inside, and it's a very savory plantain that gets fried for a bit. So it's just fried enough, but it stays chewy. And usually it's served with some juicy fried meat. I'm sorry,
shrimp, right?
Like my mouth is watering just from talking about it.
So this sounds like a plantain croquet almost.
Yeah, it's like that pretty much, but like I've always had it with like the roast, like the pulled pork or like a shrimp.
Shrimp on.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but
what it's served with.
Puerto Rico,
yeah, sometimes
mate.
it's served in the pilon itself. I forget how to translate pilon. It's like the wooden
penis
cup thing. And you have like the thing you use to mash.
Penis.
Okay, yeah, like a mortar and pestle type deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Sometimes it's served that way, and then it's served with like it's used as a bowl, and so the base is mofongo, and then there's a broth poured on it with meat, chicken. It could be shrimp. It could be like pork. We love our pork over here. Chuleta. No, I just had chuleta today with some like pork chops. I guess that's what those are called.
Well, you might need to chill with the anti-Semitism on this pod. We don't support that kind of talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not very kosher. There's a lot of our food that isn't very kosher. Like we have morcilla, which is pork intestines. Fried pork intestines, basically, like they're cleaned out and they're like filled in. But yeah, I don't know if the rabbi would approve of those.
I mean, I would assume probably not.
Yeah,
probably
but,
not.
Well, you know,
are there any Puerto Rican practicing Jews there?
I'm sure there are. I think Molly Crabapple would be one prominent one that comes to mind. But I know that there's synagogues on the island.
Okay.
I've passed by a few, and, you know, the evangelicals over here are, like, really pro, like...
Oh, yeah, they love it.
Israel.
Yeah, they love that shit, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah, let's put Palestinian heads on spikes. Hell yeah. For Jesus.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I know.
No.
I know the vibe.
I'm kind of living in a situation like that.
Yeah, no. Florida is very similar. So, yes.
Yeah, Florida, I mean, Florida's practically little Puerto Rico now.
Yeah, no, I mean, legit. I mean, it's little Cuba, there's little Puerto Rico, there's little Nicaragua, there's little Ecuador, pretty much.
They're not sending to the best, folks.
It's not quite New York City, but yeah.
Yeah, no, but you're getting like new Puerto Ricans. Like New York City is like you got like
old
Puerto Ricans from the 70s,
right.
And they're taking that 70s culture
and not
you got
going
all those
anywhere
New
with
Yorkers thinking, yeah, like all those New Yorkers thinking like they know what being Puerto Rican is. No, like the actual Puerto Ricans are in Florida right now.
Right.
Like they're in Florida riding horses.
Yeah.
In the streets.
Yeah.
They're in the streets of Miami riding horses.
I want to hang out with like a Chicago Puerto Rican guy and a New York Puerto Rican guy and just hear them go at it.
Yeah, it is like a competition of random Puerto Rican trivia from the 80s that's irrelevant to anything.
Hell yeah, that rocks.
Shout outs to any New Yorkers listening, by the way. Love y'all. If you want to learn more about the island, hit me up.
Come on the island, yeah. Puerto Rico,
but just
man.
Don't come and buy anything over here. We're tired of this. We're tired of like people coming in and with like income and taking all our houses.
How dare you come here with your income?
Goddamn American income.
Your money.
Yeah. Like nobody over here gets paid enough to get a house.
Right.
Yeah. That's like whenever we do get into like politics in Flentallo, like that's kind of like my main PR beef. Like we're getting gentrified the hell out of the island.
Right. Yeah. If the economy
so
isn't
crypto kings.
Yeah, there you go.
There's
you got money. There's many fronts. The crypto guys.
Yeah. Spoilers for some Flentallo episodes, but yeah.
Yes.
There is a lot of that. There's a lot, like, basically we have a government that is positioned to sell us out.
Yeah, right.
Like,
you guys literally...
our local government is making all of its bank on our backs.
They keep a cut, and then the rest goes to the U.S. so that they don't send it to you for aid. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
Tale
and
is
then
old
they
as
sell
time,
like the most beautiful parts of the island to billionaires that will pay no taxes.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see what's wrong with that. So seems like it's working out.
Yeah. It's only skyrocketing real estate prices.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's actually good. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing in the local like expats, because that's what they call themselves. I'm an expat.
Yeah, I was reading the Washington Post, and they said it's good actually that's happening. Yeah,
they're bringing progress.
Right. What's crazy too is like there's got to be so many like Puerto Ricans that have been living in major U.S. cities for decades who are all very vehemently voting for people that are doing this shit to Puerto Rico.
It's like the outside inside relationship. Like there's a lot of like very well-meaning Puerto Ricans in the States who think that they're doing good, but it really doesn't work. Like, give me 1 second.
The cat
I'm
was
gonna
agreeing
let my cat
with you.
out. Can you hear him?
Yeah. They're like, yeah you tell him.
My dog
I'm just gonna
barks
let
the
him
whole
out.
time.
Speak on it. We had the cat on the podcast. Just meowing into the microphone.
You know cats.
Yeah,
you can't have a closed door.
No,
on them.
They will start trying to rip the door open.
Exactly. He was starting. He was like, sharpening his nails.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the politics of it is crazy. There's no simple solution, and the people with all the power just get to fast track the worst aspects of gentrification on us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. It's not good. It's not good at all. If I dare say. Might not be good, folks.
I'm gonna agree with you.
But don't worry, because you are a comic artist.
Yes, so you're gonna make a lot of money.
Exactly. You're gonna
get yourself out of this situation.
You will have your own mansion, a little fiefdom over there in Puerto Rico. It'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I can keep getting American money flowing, I'll live like a king over here.
All right. Well, Daniel, thank you so much for coming on the show finally. I know it's been something we've been trying to do for a while, since we've had Ramon like 20 times at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Ramon's a mainstay. He's practically a gutter boy. But
I'm
very happy to be here.
He doesn't like to admit that he's a gutter boy.
Yeah, he likes to think he's above us.
Yeah,
but
he'll probably get really mad that I said that. He's like, no, I'm supposed to think I hate that.
I'm just going to throw my Subway sandwich out now. Just shoves it down into the garbage.
Yeah.
Pulls another one out of the refrigerator.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed being on.
Yeah, we'll have you back on for a bonus, that's for sure.
Yeah, because that's
something
our rule.
More, like, something that doesn't have anything to do with me. Like, this is like the worst subject for me being in a podcast. Me.
Well, Well, we're glad you came on. So where can people find you online and check out your shit and get your shit?
You can find me, like, I'll start posting on Instagram eventually. Like, once
it's pointless. It's fucking useless.
Yeah, it's just once I packaged and once we start shipping out Holy West issue 1, you're gonna be seeing more art from me again. But I've sort of been on sort of hibernation. But if you want to see me posting like really random things, you can catch me on Twitter at Daniel Irizarri. That's if you even like just read the Gutter Boy title, whatever that's spelled like.
Yeah, your name will be in there. Yeah.
Find me there. And on Instagram with the same, and I'll eventually post if you want. But you'll find me in the pages of Holy West hopefully soon.
Can people still order it, or are you going to have copies for sale for everybody that missed the Kickstarter?
The goal is to fulfill all the Kickstarter goals and then open it up.
Okay, so people will be able to get their hands on it.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
every time
yeah.
I post a new page, people ask me what it is and where can they find it. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. It'll be good.
Yeah. When it is on sale, we'll give you a free plug here.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Maybe I'll come by and we can talk about the actual book.
Yeah, on a Patreon feed or some shit for sure.
And let us know when your Patreon finally gets going. We'll plug that.
No matter what Ramon says, you do not have to give him a cut of that.
He'll want one though.
Yeah.
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 Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course, dude. Thanks for coming on. And
yes.
Yeah, that about does it for this round of Gutter Boys.
Yes.
As always, stay gutter.
Yes.
Stay gutter, folks.
Stay gutter.
Ah, あなたを追って黄昏のフェイス